Tora? Okay, come here, booty. Here's Tora. Come here, Tora Ladora. Come here, Tora Ladora. Dear Tora. Oh, Tora Ladora. Sweetheart. Well, it's not real cold at the moment. I have the fan on. That's good. But yeah, so like I went up to the street and I went driving around, me and Truman, and I knew the store was closed, but I didn't notice the sign the other day. I noticed it said they closed like at 9 o'clock, but I didn't notice the sign. It says, you know, just like a normal sign, like they just typed up, and it says, practice social distancing. It's kind of funny. But, yeah, so here's a couple of experiences. Well, I kind of had a significant one. I don't know if I want to talk about that one. A significant one a couple days ago. But, yeah, because I realized sometimes, because the aliens already told me they made me into a cyborg, and that's why I have this freaking fucking cyborg sense of fucking robot smell. Like I can smell, you know, things nobody can smell. Like I could smell like, well, you know what I mean. Well, not like at the moment, but there's a piece of paper on the wall. I could smell the bleach inside the fucking piece of paper. But anyway, so I told them to turn it the fuck down. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I think because of this fucking bullshit that's going on, these motherfucking demons are lurking the fuck around. You know, because they own this whole fucking dimension. They created it. I mean, that's why this dimension can't ever be utopia. Because, I mean, they created it. They're demons. They created it. So the good aliens, there's no way they can make it utopia. I mean, because first of all, the demon aliens, reptilians, whatever, archons or whatever, and some of them look like reptilians, some of them don't. But, so that's why, I mean, that's why they couldn't make it, I mean, the good ones couldn't make it utopia anyway, because the bad ones created it, and the number one thing they did, you know, was make physicality. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, if you're physical and you die and shit, that's not utopia. I mean, that's like, you know, why there's no way they would be able to make it utopia because of the physicality of this dimension. You know, because we have the misconception, whatever it's called, that we die and stuff. If you die, which you do in this dimension, so to speak, that can't be utopia. But it makes me feel good knowing that I think it's the aliens that's been fucking attacking me. But I've been asking, you know, for the good ones to stop it. Lately, I've been feeling pretty good. Time for me to eat, though. But I'm gonna ramble for a while first. I mean, like they do sometimes create, you know, fake smells. I know they do that sometimes, but no, all these smells I've been smelling like recently, they're, you know, they're real smells, and they're somehow like making them just like I'll smell like a neurotoxin from the fucking dryer sheets that the neighbors, you know, when they do their laundry. Like I opened the door the other day on Monday or Tuesday, like at 3 p.m. and they were doing their laundry, and it's neurotoxins that's in those fucking dryer sheets. And and I just, you know, I should have put my mask on, but I didn't know it was gonna attack me or whatever. But the smell, it just goes just way up, you know, and just like fucking attacks my pituitary gland, and then it makes me I've already been fucking hypoglycemic the past fucking month or since over 20 fucking years, and but lately, like, it's been really bad. Well, because I got gluten, which was a major thing, And I realize now every time I get gluten, that's gonna fuck up my pituitary gland, and then it's gonna take several months to get over it. It's already been a month, but I'm starting to feel better. But like I say, normally if I mess up my pituitary gland hardcore, like with acupuncture, like that dumb fuck doctor did acupuncture, I told him I was dizzy due to adrenal problems, you know, pituitary problems. But he was a dumb fuck, and he you know, he still thought he could help me by putting these fucking electrical probes all over. That fucked me up so bad it took like a fucking year to get over it. I was hypoglycemic for a fucking year. And then one time I accidentally put vinegar, well, not accident, I don't know, I thought I had bubbles in my ear, so I put a little bit of vinegar, just a little bit of vinegar mixed in with, I can't remember, alcohol or something, because I kept feeling like, oh, actually lately I haven't been, it's just a fucking implant the aliens put in, and it sounds like bubbles, like saran, you know, like saran wrap, and it feels like fucking bubbles. Lately I haven't been feeling it, they must have took them the fuck out. But, yeah, so that fucked me up real bad. So several months I had hypoglycemia when I put the vinegar in my ear, because the nerves directly relate to your fucking pituitary gland, or mine anyway. I don't know about yours, but that's directly attack the pituitary gland. So the other thing, what was I gonna say? So anyway, so I got gluten. So anything that major messes it up, it takes me several months to get over it. Like I said, it's only been a month, and I've been gluten a month ago. It's only been a month, so it may take about another month to really start feeling good. And well, it just like sucks, cause like especially when I wake up in the morning, that's when it's like I feel real hypoglycemic. Because it's like my body doesn't know which way to go, up or down. And then I gotta eat when I don't feel like fucking eating, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's hard when you gotta eat and you don't feel like eating. And, so anyway, that, what was the other smell that attacked me? Well, anyway, it was the dry, but I don't know, I think the aliens are having something to do with that. And I know they are, because they just gave me this virtual reality experience under the altered state, and that pretty much proved it right there. So anyway, the dryer sheet, you know, I smell the dryer sheet odors coming from over there, and then it just it attacks my pituitary gland, and that's why I'm gonna fucking wear masks for the next several months. Not because of fucking coronavirus, because fuck you, I don't believe you. Okay, so I don't believe you exist. Okay, so anyway, oh, yeah, but what was it something else after that before? Oh! Well, I don't know if they had anything to do with the sun, but it was straight up noontime. I guess I shouldn't have went out there, not even for a second. But, because I was taking Luna, my turtle, out there, and, but aliens could have something to do with that. They could have played off, you know, the fact that the certain sun ray or whatever, and I had the feeling again, like, it attacked me. And, but lately I've been going out there, you know, when the sun's already turned over, you know, and I've been getting in it a little bit, you know, and I've been okay. Not at noontime though, but like 3 o'clock or whatever, and I've been okay. But, and that also did the same thing. It attacked me like the dryer sheets. And then I got a slight attack, like, and like I say, those aren't sometimes like they do create artificial smells, but these most of the time they do not. But it's like they've just been knowing that it's been weak lately, and they've been taking these smells and attacking me further, or whatever, or taking advantage of the already bad smells I've been smelling. And like when I open up the freaking stove, and I've smelled that smell before, but there's chemicals in everything that they produce and manufacture. And I opened it up and I was just like, what the fuck is that smell? But anyway, it gives off a real, when it's closed for a long period of time, it gives off this alcohol smell. And I was just like, what the fuck? And then it kind of attacked me again. But anyway, it just, but yeah, so anyway, now I just wear masks everywhere I go for a little while when I go to the store or whatever. or when I go outside, I've always been putting my masks on. And but I bought millions more. The one that I just got in the mail the other day, it's, God damn it, it smells like chemicals naturally, like alcohol chemicals. So I have it soaking in some soap and water. Hopefully that'll work. If that doesn't work, I may have to douse it with a bunch of vinegar, and hopefully that'll work. Like, it's soaking right now. I'm probably gonna let it soak for several days, and then I'll have to somehow dry it. And then if it still smells like ass, I'll have to return it. And that thing was expensive. It was like $34. But I bought some other masks too. It's gonna take a while to get here, but but then I am gonna get one of those 3M, masks, but they're all sold out. I went on this website and they're like all sold out. The half piece 3M mask or whatever. It's probably gonna smell like ass too, so I'll have to wash it real good. But okay, so then the reason why I know I figured it out that the aliens were kind of attacking me was because I had been watching Hunger Games. I watched all 4. Yeah, it was really good. I didn't really like 3 or 4 so much, but I like number 1 and 2. The Revolution was kind of boring. Both Revolutions, or at least the third one was kind of boring. But I like number 1 and 2 of the Hunger Games. And then, so, I went to bed, a few nights ago, and they gave me this virtual reality experience. And, well, they know, the aliens know I don't like smoke smells, either. Well, now I don't like any fucking smell, even if it's good, even if it smells like fucking strawberries and it's natural, I don't like it. Because it's like, I don't know what fucking smell is going to attack me, so it's like, oh, I'm smelling a smell, yeah, so at least for the next several fucking months, I'm gonna, and yeah, hopefully they're not spraying down stores and shit with some fucking toxic, chemicals, due to the fucking non-existent coronavirus. But anyway, so they gave me this virtual reality experience, and they played off Hunger Games because, so me and my mom were on the streets, and, it was like me and my mom, and we were getting out of a car, and it burst in flames, and we were like running from it burst in flames, and we were like trying to run and get away from the fire, because all of that was in Hunger Games, the fire, and so I know they went off the Hunger Games episode that I watched. So then, and I was smelling the smoky smell. It was virtual reality. I smelled the smoky smell, and it went up, and attacked me again. I had the exact same feeling that I've been having in real life by smell. So then that pretty much proved it. They've been attacking me. So, so anyway, I've asked for the good aliens and stuff to step in or whatever. So anyway, so I've been feeling pretty good lately, past day or two. Anyway, okay, so, but yeah, I would say I probably have a cyborg sense of taste as well. But the smell is just worse. But, the smells are worse. But, oh, okay. Man, I need my glasses. Shit. Okay. Oh, yeah, this is a funny... Oh, yeah. I waited too long to talk about these. But one awesome virtual reality lucid dream that I had. I don't know why the aliens gave me this. They gave me a money lucid dream. They haven't given me a money one in a long time. I don't know where it came from because I hadn't watched anything where they were having, stacks of money or whatever. But anyway, so, vending machine. Oh yeah, so anyway, me and my mom this was under virtual reality, out-of-body experience, lucid dream. And me and mom were at a movie theater and we were sitting in the back. We were sitting way in the back. And so I told my mom I wanted to go get some snacks out of the vending machine. So I walked the vending machine area. There was just like two big vending machines against the wall, and there was a person sitting there at a little table because it was like a little snack shop. I mean, it was like if you wanted to sit there and eat your snacks. It had a little table right there, and there was like a guy sitting at the table, like a 20-year-old looking guy sitting at the table. But there was kind of a big long entryway into the vending machines. And so I was walking in the entryway, and then I saw him sitting at the table at the right. And then so I proceeded to get some. Oh, I saw a bunch of coins, and they've given me dreams like this many times before, like lucid dreams. You know, where I'm picking up like all these quarters and 50-cent pieces and dollar pieces. And they've also given me ones where I'm literally picking. Oh yeah, that was like, I don't know, 2 years ago. I never talked about that one, but where I'm literally picking up like gold jewelry and shit, like gold rings and bracelets and crap like that. They've given me experiences like that before. But okay, so this one was wild because so when I was getting my snack out of the vending machine, and I noticed on the floor all these quarters and crap, and then there was also like a couple dollar bills, and so I was just like, wow, why did that guy not see all that money? So I started picking it all up and putting it in my pocket. Well, the next thing I know, I end up picking up like freaking 7 stacks of bills. I mean, this freaking thick. And so then I looked under the vending machine, and I noticed a big stack of bills like this thick. And then I realized where all that money was coming from was drug dealers. Anyway, that's how the aliens programmed it. It was drug dealers. I guess they thought they would the cops were chasing them or whatever, so they just kept throwing the money under there because they didn't want to get arrested. So the first stack was this thick. All of them were this fucking thick. I mean, I probably had $1 million. Okay, so the first stack of money that I noticed was under the vending machine. I stuck it in like this pocket, and then I found like another stack this thick, and I put it in this pocket, and then another stack, and then I put it like back here, down my pants or whatever, and then another stack I think I put like right here, and then another stack I was thinking about. Oh, the other stack I had at least 5 to 6 stacks. I mean, fucking money, bills. It was like this thick of money, and I don't know if it's $5 bills. It was like $20 bills, maybe $100 bills, but it was stacks this thick. And so the last stack, I was losing room, to put all the money. And so the last stack, I thought, okay, I'm just going to carry it. Because for some reason, I didn't want to put it down my pants on this end. But I did put a big stack back here. And then one here, and then one down here. And then the other stack, I was just holding like this in plain sight. So then when I, went out the entryway and I went back into the movie theater, the usher right there, I was just like, la, 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 la. And, because I knew, I was just like wondering, what is he, or she, I can't remember, it was a she, I think. It was a she standing there, and I was thinking, what is she going to think? I mean, I didn't really want her to see that I'm carrying a stack of cash this thick. But anyway, so I was kind of afraid to go past her, but I was just like, la, 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 la. And yeah, she saw me and everything, but she didn't say anything. So then I walked up, the steps to go where my mom was at. She was, let's see, I was sitting on the left, and she was sitting on my right. And so then we were sitting there getting ready to see the movie. And the whole time I was thinking, like, should I tell her that I found all this money? Or should I not tell her? But that was wild. And like I said, the aliens have given me many, many, many experiences, like where there's like all this money and stuff. Yeah, this other cool experience they gave me many years ago. I was walking all throughout this mall, and I even was walking on top of the buildings. And then I eventually walked down into a basement, which was a skate. It had skating, skateboards and crap. But as I was walking on top of the roof, I kept finding all these like bowls of money, like coins and shit. And I was just like, wow, and but that was a lucid dream I never talked about. But yeah, because they like to stick me in malls a lot. Okay, but anyway, so this one cool one that I had recently. Okay, hold on. Okay, sorry. Okay, I'll talk about this one first, even though I had the Boston, Massachusetts one before this one. But okay, so okay, so this experience was bizarre. This was an out-of-body experience, virtual reality, but it was very. It didn't feel like 3D. It felt very lucid dreaming, and I think it was. Well, it was an actual abduction. It was actual. Well, all of these are, but that was like more so of an actual astral abduction, so to speak. And this was bizarre. Okay, and now I did have what was it called? And for whatever reason, I did have what's that called? On the brain, but Botanical Gardens. I did have that on the brain, you know, because I remember my mom saying that her and my grandmother would go out to the Botanical Gardens, and they're kind of like out there on the, I don't know, maybe the west part of town, but in my scenario, I mean, I knew it was kind of more on the north part of town or whatever. The Botanical Gardens, I don't think they've been here very long, but anyway, I know my mom, and when my grandmother was still alive, my mom had taken her out there many times. So, okay, so the experience started, this was bizarre. The experience started, that's what I'm saying, this was an actual, like, where some of these other lucid dreams, they could have, like, the aliens may not be, they may have kind of created it more indirectly, or maybe just through my implant or whatever. Whereas this one, I think they were just like actively creating it, if you know what I mean. So so it started out like this. Okay, it was really weird. Okay, first of all, I was already like way up at a very high elevation. I don't know how high, but very high. And I was in a vehicle. I can't really remember what the vehicle looked like on the outside, but I was in a vehicle. I guess my car. I was in a vehicle, and I started like driving, but I knew I was already really high, in high elevation, and like way up in mountains or something, almost in the sky. Okay, so I started driving. Okay, then I'll see. I'm gonna get the template. Hold on, let me get the template out so I don't forget. Hold on, there's a street over there. No, I think I remember everything, but I did already make the template up. Okay, so anyway, so I was in the car, and all of a sudden, okay, but I was driving, you know, okay, first of all, way ahead of me, when I looked way ahead of me, was beautiful scenery. Mountains, green, luscious mountains and stuff, straight ahead. But like I say, I was already way up in the mountains, in the sky, so to speak. And so, as I started driving, okay, I started, eventually, I started like my car started floating, like I started going airborne. Does that make sense? Airborne? Yeah. So I started like drifting up, and like I started floating as I was driving. So, you know, it's kind of like I started astral traveling in my vehicle. And then, like I say, I saw the luscious, beautiful greenery, mountains, beautiful scenery, and they do this all the time, give me that kind of scenery in my experiences. I'm way off at a distance. Okay, over to my left was like a two mile long road, and I actually saw it and everything. The 2 mile long road, like, I mean, super long, that led to the Botanical Gardens. And I could still see the beautiful, you know, gardens and stuff, even 2 miles, you know, down there. And I was like, wow, you know, because I already had those thoughts of I already had the thoughts of, okay, this is where my grandma and my mom went. And I knew, this is kind of funny too, but the aliens already programmed this for me. As I was driving in my car, I already knew I was in the north part of town. And I never go to the north part of town. But I already knew I was at the north part of town, you know, looking for the Botanical Gardens or whatever. So, I was on the north part of town, of this town. And this experience, yeah, or that's what the aliens programmed for me. So that started off, I already knew that I was on the north part of town. Because I had already thought the Botanical Gardens were sort of over there on the north part of town. But they may be more in the west part of town. The west part of town. But, so anyway, like I say, so the aliens put that Botanical Garden thing you know, in my scenario, and like I said, I looked over there, and like I say, the roads was like freaking 2 miles long, and you know, to get to the Botanical Gardens. But I never did go on the road. I just kept going straight. You know, I never did actually go to the Botanical Gardens. Okay, here's the funny part. And then I already told you about the beautiful scenery. And like I said, I started floating. Well, first I started driving and I felt, you know, physical. And then I started floating or whatever. Okay, so then, okay, here's the funny part. But let me make sure. Because the asteroid. Oh, I'm going to have to draw a picture. Okay, yeah. Okay, hold on. Tora, honey, hold on. Okay. Okay, so over on the left side of me, what was floating, okay, I don't know if it was a UFO or an asteroid. And see, the aliens already posed, showed me one of their UFOs that looked like an asteroid back in 1995. And when I looked up, you know, at the house over there, it was like an asteroid, and it was just like, and it was rotating slowly as it was just, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? And now I realized it was a UFO, but they were making it look like an asteroid, and so that's why they copied that from 1994 or whatever. And in the scenario, so as I started floating, as I started going up and floating, when I was driving, over to my left, higher than me, and like I said, I was already like way up there, like in the mountains. It was so weird. I was already up in the sky, so to speak. You know, seeing all these, all the botanical gardens and the road, all of that. We were way up, or I was, way up high elevation, like in the mountains or in the sky. And so over to the left, as I was driving and I started floating, over to my left, up higher, I was like, is that a UFO or is that an asteroid? But it looked like an asteroid because they could pose as anything. And it was like an asteroid. It just looked like a normal, just like it did back then. You know, an asteroid, it wasn't completely round, but you know, like that. And I was just like, wow. And it was floating, you know, it was just coming at me, kind of floating. I mean, it wasn't aiming towards me, but it was just floating. And I was just like, is that an asteroid or is that a UFO? Okay, here's the funny part. And then over to my right, it was way up, you know, higher than me, not that much higher. As I was already floating, I saw another UFO, but I was like, what is that? Is that a UFO? But it was shaped like this. And I already put it in the template, but I'll show you what it was shaped like. It was shaped like this, and it was coming at me like that. I mean, it was, you know, coming a little closer to me. Just like this. Or here, I'll draw it better. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, and it was like, silver looking. Like, or gray. Like the color of that phone. But, and still, again, I was like, what is that? And it was just floating. It was floating in space, so to speak. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. I kind of felt like, oh, yeah, that's another thing. I kind of felt like I was in space, so to speak. Or at least at that point. As I started floating, you know, I felt like I was in space. Eventually, after I knew I was on high elevation, then after I started floating up, I started feeling like I was in space, so to speak. Okay, so, and it looked like this. Except all one color, and it was like gray or silver. It's like that. Except it was one color, you know what I'm saying? Solid color. And it was just floating. And like I said, I didn't know if it was a UFO or what the hell it was. It was just shaped like that. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully you can. Okay, so, like that. And like I say, it was just floating, la 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 la. And like I say, it was a UFO, basically. Yeah, it's so funny, like, like they make UFOs look like dildos. It's kind of funny. Just whatever. You know? They're funny little creatures. Tori, don't come back over here. Cesar, I don't know why Cesar's not begging for food. Well, I've been feeding him 9 ounces a day, but he hasn't, I wonder if he got into the hard food. He's not acting hungry. So that's kind of weird. I don't know if I don't know. He must have got into something because he's not acting hungry. Because normally he's not happy unless I give him 9 ounces, like 3 cans of Fancy Feast a day. Oh man, I'm gonna need my glasses. Tori, come here. Baby, you know where your food is? You know I hide it from Cesar. I don't know why Cesar's acting kind of spooked. Why are you acting spooked, Cesar? Well, if he's not begging, I'm not going to feed him another can of Fancy Feast tonight. Besides, it's really, really late. But, yeah, his sugar has been, it stays down just as long as he doesn't get into the, well, I guess I'd like to get it at least, you know, 200, I don't know, maybe 180, 190, and keep it at that. Or at least 200 or below. But yeah, I've already gotten it to like 220. But I think I was afraid to give him insulin at that point. So just as long as I could keep it at like 200. And just as long as he doesn't get into the hard food, it'll stay. Once you give him insulin and it stays down, just as long as you give him no carbs, it'll stay down. So yeah, he's been doing real good. But I don't know why he's not begging for a third meal. Okay, so this experience was funny. This was like over a week ago, and I was asking the aliens to take me to Hong Kong, cause I was watching Hong Kong and stuff. They were in Hong Kong on Create TV, so I was asking them to take me to Hong Kong. Well, they took me to. Oh, you know what? I guess that's why they. Wait a minute, hold on. Oh my god! Oh my god! I just thought of something. Okay, so where's Cesar? Oh god dang it! See, he's over there eating the hard food now. Cesar knew. Oh, I just realized something. Yeah, I just realized something. Wow, the aliens are so freaking smart. I just realized something. Okay, so, okay, so anyway, they took me to Boston, Massachusetts. And they put that woman that I knew back in, I moved in with her in 2000, the year 2000. And we went to Boston, Massachusetts in the year 2000 for about 5 days. And so anyway, so I was asking the aliens to take me to Hong Kong because I was watching Hong Kong and it was like so cool, you know, on Create TV. So instead they took me to Boston, Massachusetts, and they put she's a black woman. They put that same woman, you know, in the scenario that I lived with back then, but see, this just dawned on me that why would they put her in that scenario? Because in real life, me and her went to Boston, Massachusetts. It was on her business trip or whatever, for 5 days back in real life. So the aliens decided to take me to Boston, Massachusetts, and they put her in the same scenario. And I knew her for about 8 or 9 months, but I didn't want to live with anybody anyway, so I started living on my own after that, after 8 or 9 months. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so anyway, I was asking them to take me to Hong Kong, and they took me to Boston, Massachusetts via OBE VR, and it felt like a different dimension. So lucid dream, and but it's pretty virtual reality. It was like B+ experience. Okay, so okay, I know this is kind of weird, but it started out. Okay, wait, let me think. Hold on. Okay, so anyway, I was going to Boston. Okay, so anyway, under the scenario, like the aliens knew that I already knew in real life that she's retired and everything, and the funny thing is, so anyway, in the scenario, I what do you call it? Yeah, okay, so I mean, the scenario started out. I was like sitting there in an airplane. And you think I would know where I was going. But once I was sitting there in an airplane, but I don't remember it taking off. I mean, it didn't take off or anything like that. Like I say, this wasn't an A+ experience. And so I was sitting in the airplane. And the funny thing is, this is hard. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I guess I'll try to explain it. Okay, hold on. Okay, so anyway, I left at 9 a.m. in the morning. And I stayed in Boston, Massachusetts at her house till 5 p.m. And I got back home at 9 p.m. And all of this was already in my brain and everything under the scenario. So I left at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so I was sitting there on a plane at 9 a.m. And I knew it was 9 a.m. And so I was waiting to get to my destination. And the funny thing is, when I first got there, this was the funny thing. Because you think I would have known where I was going. So when I first got there, like when I first, got into her house and everything, I walked into her house. I wasn't sure if I was in Kansas City or where I was. That was when she said Boston, Massachusetts. And because she was sitting on the bed. And, but that part's kind of funny because you think I would know where I was going. Okay, so apparently, she had retired. Under the scenario, she was retired. And the aliens already put that in there because they already knew that I knew that. In real life, I'm pretty sure she still lives in Kansas City. But under the scenario, she moved to Boston, Massachusetts. And that's why the aliens decided to take me to Boston, Massachusetts and put that woman in here. The scenario, because that was all part of my reality back in 2000. The same woman and everything. Okay, anyway, so I went to visit my old friend back in, 2000, 2001 under the scenario. And under this scenario, but anyway, okay, I flew to Boston, Massachusetts. I asked the aliens to take me to Hong Kong. And like I said, they decided to take me to Boston, Massachusetts. So when I walked into her house, okay, she lived in a very, it wasn't a really nice house because, Boston, I already knew all the thoughts in my brain were like, wow, she can't afford much here because it's real expensive, to live in that part of the country compared to Kansas City. And so I had all these thoughts like, wow, her house really isn't that nice. It's kind of older. And as I was looking around, it was just kind of older and small. And she did live in a very, very small house in Kansas City. And but under the scenario, it was even kind of older looking. And at one point, she did even tell me. Well, anyway, I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so anyway, under the scenario, she was retired and she moved to Boston, Massachusetts. And that's, when I was sitting there in the airplane, that's where I was going to visit her. And, but like I said, when I got there, I didn't know if I was in Kansas City and then, or Boston, Massachusetts or whatever. And that's when she told me, that, that she was in Boston, Massachusetts. So I was in Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, so here's the funny part. Okay, so she sat on the bed and I just started sitting on the bed and I started looking at her bedroom and stuff. Okay, at one point there was even like 3 other women that came in to visit her, 3 friends, like white people. And she was telling me, that they come in and live there once in a blue moon so they could, so they could help her pay rent and stuff, or her mortgage. I don't know if it was rent, if she rented it out or mortgage. I think it was mortgage. I think she had bought it, as far as I remember. And anyway, so she would have friends that come in, like her friends, and they were sitting on the bed, and we said some things, and I can't remember what we said, but and Debbie said, oh yeah, they helped me, pay my mortgage and stuff. So, because it was expensive, her mortgage and stuff in Boston, Massachusetts. Even a shitty house was expensive. Okay, so one part of the scenario, this was funny. I was in her bedroom, and I don't know where Debbie was at the time, but the windows, I looked out the windows, and I saw all these trains, these subway trains, but they were on top of the ground. In real life, it's underground, because we rode the subway back then, it was underground. But in this scenario, these were subways on top of the ground. And so I looked out the window, and I saw these subways. Like, her window, like, at one point it almost seemed like I was in a condo, because I was up high. So it was kind of weird. Some part of the scenario, it seemed like I was in a condo. Another part, I was in her house. But anyway, so I looked out the window, and it seemed like I was more like on a third level. And I was looking out the window, and I saw the subways like coming this way at me, but they were, lower than me. They were like going kind of like either under the condos or to the side of the condos or whatever, or house that she lived in. Okay, so, so I saw all these trains, like, on top of the ground, like, coming at me like that. They were going this direction. There were, like, 3 of them. And they were full of people. I mean, packed full of people. I don't know how I was able to see the people inside of there, but I did. And, and there was tons of pedestrians and stuff on the sides of the street, too. Tons and tons and tons. Well, this was really weird, because at that time, it seemed like I was in downtown Boston, Massachusetts, in her condo. And then other parts of the scenario, I was on the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts, in her small house. So it was kind of like both in this scenario. Okay, so anyway, I talked about the subway on top of the ground as I was looking out her window. And I saw all these vivid trains go by heading towards us, which would be like south. Like at least 2 tracks of subway trains packed full of people. But underneath us, so to speak. It's like Debbie was on a high-rise condo at that point. So, like I say, it was weird. Sometimes it's like I was in her condo, and sometimes I was in the outskirts of Massachusetts in her house. That's kind of weird. Like I said, this wasn't an A+ experience. But, so it was 2. It was 2, but anyway, it was at least 2 or 3 train tracks coming out of the trains would come in this direction, and not, it's like, like I say, I was up high, and it's like they were, on the ground, and anyway, so, but at that time it was like I was in her condo. It was really weird. That was up on a higher level. Okay. Okay. So then, at one point, I was back at her older house on the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts. And, so I saw 2 houses from the, so then, I guess, apparently, from the condo, like I said, this was an A+ experience. So from the condo, we went from the condo to her condo, which was downtown Boston, and that's where we stayed in real life, was downtown Boston. And so it was like we went from downtown Boston to the outskirts to where her other smaller house was. And so her house was kind of sitting in back, and I saw these 2 other houses in front of her house. And this was kind of funny. One was kind of crappy in front, and the other a little nicer in the back. Yeah, so it was kind of a crappy house in the front. Where she lived, she lived in the back of these 2 houses. And, at one point when I was in her house, I wasn't sure if it was a house or apartment or condo. At one point, she told me it was a condo and another an apartment. Okay, well, anyway, but it was, at one point, it was a definite house. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, the aliens sometimes get a bunch of crap confused when they program my scenarios. And like I say, this wasn't an A+ experience. But yeah, so at one point she did tell me it was a condo, another point another part, I mean, at another time she told me it was an apartment, but it was a definite house that she lived in the back of these other two houses, or, you know, it was kind of set back, and these other two houses were in front. And the first house, but yeah, and so the house on the left that was in front of her house, I saw a bunch of Mennonite women and goats that they were tending to, like it was all these Mennonite women, and they were tending to their goats and stuff. And I know the aliens took that because I see Mennonite people at the Walmart and stuff. So I was like, wow, there must be a big Mennonite community here. I told her that, or I said that to myself. Okay, so anyway, so in her apartment, kind of the point she told me it was a condo. So anyway, I already said that she lived in the outskirts of town, but also had a condo in the city. Okay, wait, hold on. Visit my old friend back. But anyway, like I said, when I first got to her house, condo, whatever the hell it was, I didn't know where I was, and that's when she told me I was in Boston, Massachusetts, instead of, you know, Kansas City. Okay, so I saw a bit of Speaker W was on a high-rise condo at that point. I saw two houses from the outside. That was decent, but not super nice. Yeah, so like I said, she lived in it was a decent house, but it was just kind of older and crappy. Not so nice house, so to speak. I wasn't sure if it was a house or apartment. Like I said, at one point she did verbalize and she told me it was an apartment. Another time she told me it was a condo. So we flip-flop back and forth a couple times between her condo and apartment. Like I said, she lived on the outskirts of town, but also had a condo in the city. Okay, yeah, so that I already, like I said, it took me, I waited too long to talk about the scenario, so that's why I'm forgetting a bunch of parts, but that's why I wrote it down or whatever. So she lived in the outskirts of town, but that was her house, and then her condo was in the city. And like I say, in real life, we started off in downtown and we stayed downtown. But so I don't know why the aliens put her little house on the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts, but they did in the scenario. I was in front of the Davis house, I saw a bunch of Mennonite women, but yeah, they were just like la la la. There's like, oh my god, there's like at least 15 Mennonite women, like in skirts and stuff, and they were tending to their goats. Oh, I know why the aliens put goats in there, because I see goats a lot when I drive by over there. That guy over there has goats in real life. Yeah, so anyway, so I was like, wow, there must be a big Mennonite community here. And like I said, I can't remember if I spoke that to her or if I said it to myself. Okay, it was like, okay, and anyway, she said, anyway, so the thought process was when I was in the scenario, it was like she couldn't afford much in Boston on her salary. So that is why she lived in an average older house, which I already discussed that. Okay. And like I said, I went to visit her on a very quick trip because the reason why the aliens put that in there, that I literally left at 9 o'clock in the morning, and when I got there, I only stayed till 5 p.m. By the time I got back to my town, which under the scenario, it seemed like Kansas City, because I used to live in Kansas City, I got back at 9 p.m. in Kansas City, under the scenario. The reason why the aliens put that in there, a short trip like that whole thought process was because, they know, they already know that I'd have to take quick little trips. Well, they already knew that I was thinking about how, I can't really travel anymore, or at least not outside the United States, because that would be too long of a trip, and I can't eat gluten. So I'd have to take small trips, from state to state, and hurry up and, get a little hotel that's near Aldi's or whatever, so I can cook my own food. But so that's what that thought process right there, that's why they put that in the scenario, that it was a very quick trip, because they know I'm not going to be able to eat anything, and they know I can't go without food for a long time. So it's funny how they put all these thoughts and stuff in the scenario. So that's why I left at 9 o'clock in the morning. I stayed with her till 5 p.m. and I was back home, which seemed like Kansas City, at 9 p.m. They're so funny. Okay, so I went to visit her for a very quick trip. I left about 9 a.m. and I got there at 2. Okay, I got there at 2 p.m. in her little house, and I stayed till like 5 p.m. And then I got back home at 9 p.m. All this was part of the scenario. All of those thoughts were part of the scenario. 9 p.m., 2 p.m., and 5 p.m. And when I went back, I literally was sitting there again on an airplane. But like I say, it wasn't very virtual reality. It just was like I was just sitting there doing nothing. And I was going back to my town. And that's how it started at the beginning when I was going to Boston, Massachusetts. Like I say, this wasn't very virtual reality. I mean, it wasn't an A+ experience. Okay, so, yeah, and the reason why I had a very quick trip, the aliens programmed that, was because I couldn't eat anything. So I had to hurry and get back home so I could prepare my own food. And all of that was part of the scenario. Like, I have to hurry and get back home so I could prepare my own food. So that's why I didn't stay very long. Okay, and here's another cool part of the scenario. When I was in her house, not condo, and I was sitting on the bedroom bed. I was in her bedroom again, and I was sitting on the bed, and the window was way over here to my west, a big picture window. And what I saw out the beautiful windows, out of the windows, the huge windows, was huge, beautiful, vivid mountains way out at the distance, like way, way out. Very beautiful mountains. And like I say, I was already in the outskirts of Boston, Massachusetts. And I could see these vivid mountains. They're beautiful, way off at a distance. And I don't know where Debbie was at that point. But because I was sitting there by myself. And like I say, at that one point, it was like 3 or 4 women that came into the bedroom, and me and Debbie were sitting on the bed, and we were talking and stuff. Another point, me and Debbie were like sitting on the bed, and we were trying to discuss where we were going to eat. I do remember that part, but we never did actually go eat anywhere. But, and I think I actually told her I couldn't really eat anything, actually. I think I actually told her that. So that would make sense why we didn't go to any restaurants. So anyway, I saw the huge, beautiful, vivid mountains way out at the distance. Oh, yeah, and the funny thing is, in the scenario, those mountains were called something. I know they were called something. Like, because when I was looking at the mountains, I was like, oh, are those the bleep bleep mountains? Like the aliens, but I can't remember what the name of the mountains were. And I did look it up to see if there were mountains in Boston, Massachusetts, and I think I did come up with a name, but I can't remember if that was the name in my scenario or not. But when I was looking at the mountains, it was like, wow, that's the bleep bleep mountains, you know. And next time I'm gonna have to write things down really fast. But yeah, the mountains had a name in my scenario. They had a name because I was like, wow. And I knew they had a name, but I can't remember the name of the mountains. And but anyway, the cool part was like looking out the window and seeing the subways, because that was pretty virtual reality. The subways and all the people, and then the other virtual reality part was the mountains and stuff, and that was pretty cool. So anyway, oh shit, oh my god, I gotta eat dinner. But anyway, I think I pretty much said everything. But yeah, that was fun. Cause yeah, well, it just dawned on me like, duh, they put her in my scenario, cause and Boston, Massachusetts, because aliens already linked those two together from my reality. They knew we went to Boston, Massachusetts back in 2000. That just dawned on me like, duh. Oh shit. Okay, thanks for listening. Look, Tori, look.